4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
This is Movies First with Alex First.
The unique talent that was former Yolngu Yindi band member and supreme artist in his own right, Geoffrey Gurrumul Yunupingu, who passed away at the age of 46 in July 2017, is showcased in this reverential documentary, written and directed by Paul Williams. Gurrumul spoke little. More often than not, he let his producer and good friend do the talking for him. Their relationship is mighty special. But he said so much through his evocative music. Blind since birth, the indigenous performer had a musical command most could only ever dream about. Fated on the world stage, clearly he remained most at home with family and friends, around people he knew and cared about. A shy man, he shunned the limelight, even though the likes of Sting searched him out. A particularly telling part of the documentary comes at what is the start of a supposedly breakthrough US tour, one that would elevate Gurrumul's standing even higher and have his music heard by millions who hadn't been touched by him to that point. So Gurrumul is a portrait of one of Australia's most celebrated and important voices, who found purpose and meaning through songs and music inspired by his community and country on Elcho Island in far North East Arnhem Land. Living a traditional life, his breakthrough album Gurrumul sold 500,000 copies and brought him to the crossroads as audiences and artists around the world began to embrace his music. Gurrumul played to royal families, performed with not only Sting but with Elton John, and for world leaders including Barack Obama and Vladimir Putin. Rolling Stone magazine declared him Australia's most important voice in April 2011. Quite an accolade for an artist who didn't speak publicly and sang in a language only a handful of people understand. Despite his success, Gurrumul lived a traditional indigenous life as far away from the trappings of fame and fortune as possible. Into this world stepped Mark Grose, Gurrumul's manager, and Michael Hohnen, Gurrumul's musical collaborator. After stumbling across the raw musical talent of Elcho Island in 1996, together they formed the Skinny Fish music label based in Darwin to help preserve the music they were hearing. They had no idea at that time that they'd discover a voice that would penetrate so far and wide, and were completely unprepared when it did. Mark wandered north in the 1980s and spent much of his 30s and 40s in remote Aboriginal communities in the Northern Territory and Western Australia. 20 years ago, Michael was done with the Melbourne music scene, so he packed his double bass into his car and headed north in search of a different sound.
You're listening to Movies First. For more, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Gurrumul is the story of an artist on the brink of global reverence and the struggles he and those closest to him faced in balancing that which mattered most to him and keeping the show on the road. The doco spends considerable time focused upon the man's roots and cultural heritage. His mother, father, and above all his auntie show a great deal of pride in him and in his achievements. The haunting sounds Gurrumul makes in full voice, the music he so lovingly crafts, is nothing short of astonishing. That, more than anything else, is what I'll remember. The documentary, while telling, is too long. It did not sustain its 97-minute running time. There are more fades to black than I've had hot dinners this week. There didn't need to be. That simply provided a source of frustration. And there was no explanation of how and why he died so young. Why not? A quick Google search reveals that. But surely a documentary about someone's life deserves the complete picture. So, as compelling as Gurrumul the motion picture is, it could so easily have been even better. It scores a 6 out of 10.
You've been listening to Movies First with Alex First. Subscribe to the full podcast at Audioboom, Stitcher and iTunes, or your favourite podcast distributor. This has been another quality podcast production from Bytes.com.